Welcome back. Rick and Garrett rejoining us. All right. When you look at the export sales this week, new crop corn sales exceeded expectations, or so is what's reported, with the trade war not impacting corn demand, is how it seems, Garrett. But when you look at the report, you look at the strong new crop corn sales right now. Do you think that's enough to support corn prices?
It's going to have to. I mean, it would be nice to have, we've got crude at $56. It'd be nice to have, demand on both legs where we've got strong ethanol margins and the exporter has to compete with the ethanol market to buy corn. But, right now, I mean, we still have a May, July that's going into delivery at 7 to 8 cents carry versus this inverse in the front end. The time will tell on that, but, excellent export sales. I mean, the commitments are still running about 300 million bushel above the USDA's pace. I will note that, today's export sales are about half of what some of the whisper numbers were. And there was about 100,000 tons of cancellations, outright cancellations. So something worthwhile. Export sales from new crop, that's going to be the key here because, July forward, Brazil corn is supposed to be the cheapest out there. And we had some South Korean tenders this week that tipped to the U.S. off the PNW because we're still, the comments I get out of Brazil is that there's just a lack of offers. They're cheaper, but there's a lack of offers. They just haven't sold it yet. So maybe we can steal a couple of cargoes away from Brazil here short term.
All right, Rick, wheat prices, they did see some life this week, but what will it take to turn wheat prices around longer term?
It's the million-dollar question that everyone loves to ask every year. Right now, as we sit, U.S. wheat is the cheapest wheat in the world. And the reason for that is you've got very poor quality coming out of France in their carryout, and you don't have the carryout in Russia in exportable positions that have to reach higher into the interior to pull it out. So you've got a window here all the way through August where the U.S. is primed to do business. On top of that, you've got wheat prices in the Texas Panhandle and in the Eastern Corn Belt that are cheaper than corn. Now, the problem is you have milo as well. That's much cheaper than corn out in the West, which will compete with wheat and corn into the feed rations. I mean, we're priced well. And I think what the market wants to see is some uptick of demand, primarily from Nigeria or Brazil for hard wheat to really kind of put a floor under this new crop basis and going forward.
And you think that's possible?
We're priced to do it. And it's just a matter of when the boats come and when the bids come. But we're priced to do it. It's just a waiting game at this point.
Garrett, on the other end of the spectrum, cattle prices. When you look at record cash cattle prices out there right now, what is driving that? And even with the concerns in the economy right now, do you think cattle prices can continue on this run?
It sure seems like it. We had new cash trade here this week, 223. I heard late in the week, April expiration went off. It's going to be a spread trade from this point forward as the June goes to try to assume where that April is. But, the fact that we're trading to new cash highs here with the April expiration, it's going to be positive to June contracts. But, we've got, packer margins are under pressure. We still really haven't seen the balking by the consumer out there, and we're starting to enter the summer grilling season. So, it's just kind of a pinch yourself type of moment here for the time being.
Rick, as you're looking at farmers out there that are planting, trying to figure out what to do, when are we going to see these summer highs? I mean, there's a lot of questions. They're juggling a lot right now. What do you want farmers to know?
Well, I think the last high in D's corn was around 470, and the one before that is 480. And if I'm planting this crop and we know what the acreage is going to be, it could go up or down about, maybe 500,000 acres, give or take. I'd really start wondering and ask myself, what will it take for the corn market to revisit that 470, revisit that 480, and even burst higher than that? Ask yourself that question. Ask your analyst or your broker that question. And I don't personally see it today. You would need a very hot and dry pollination period from here going forward, or some sort of trade deal that brings China into the market to buy new crop corn. Neither of those things are on the horizon here for the next 7 to 15 days. So we need to be cognizant of the fact that could potentially be a very severe air pocket underneath these corn if these two variables don't crop up. And that's what I would be focusing as I'm sitting in the planter and getting these rows planted.
Rick, Garrett, thank you so much for joining us this week. We need to take a quick break. And then in Tractor Tales, it's a John Deere tractor that isn't green. Machinery Pete joins us next.